just no words, but you're coming in clear. I'm a natural man and I like what I like. I like the way you think, I like the way you get dressed, the way you bleed blood and breathe your breath, the way you hang out the window with your toes on the dash, the way you, I get lightning in my chair. Let's keep it simple, let's keep it sincere. You feel good from here. You got it tied in your flesh. There's a moon in the sky. I'll show you yours if you show me mine. I'm on the rise up. We on the rise up. We on the rise up. We're on the rise up. Yeah, I got it tied in my flesh. There's a moon in the sky. When I get low, I get low. When I get high, I get high. And I hang it out the window. I sing it in the wind. I feel good, I feel good, I feel good again. I get lightning in my chest.
And welcome back to part 2 of the Unconquerable Past album release. Part 2, in which we will be talking about the side 2 of the album. We did side 1 a few days ago, and we will be doing side 2. Before I get into any further introductions, I want to thank, as is customary, the hosts
of this beautiful place. We are in the Duncan Showroom in Duncan, BC, which is just up island from Victoria, and it is a legendary venue. And of course, like all venues, it is dark right now, but they have a 5-camera setup. So when I'm playing, not talking to you on camera, you'll see their lovely 5-camera setup, and it's a great place. And I'm really grateful to Ted Cadillac, who is pushing the faders today. Longevity John, my old friend, who runs this joint. And the other folks to thank are Jennifer Johnston, who is basically keeping the wheels on Stephen Fearing Inc., such as it is. Jennifer is working behind the scenes, and you will meet her in the chat room that we have set up. I want to thank Christine, my wife, who's watching this and is keeping the wheels on my home life, which, as we all know at this time, is a difficult thing to do. Thanks, Christine. I want to thank Kelly Nakatsuka, who is the promoter for the show that was supposed to be happening yesterday, which was the album release show that got canceled in Victoria and started this whole thing. So without further ado, please welcome my co-host, the cream of the stream, Terry David Mulligan.
Yes, Duke of Prune.
There you go.
Well, it was quite an experience a couple of days ago. It was literally a bleep. It was just so quick. It went by. That hour was done like dinner. Yeah. And I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. So what we did was we did the first 5 songs. We now turn the album over on the turntable, vinyl. And here's side 2, the title track, Sonny, Christine, Immigrant Song, No Country. So much to talk about. I hope you were happy. Did you like the experience?
I really enjoyed it. It's great to chat with you, as always. But yeah, I feel really comfortable with this. And then to read people's comments after and know that I think there were around 1,500 people all told who tuned in during the live broadcast. So that's great. You know, the people were coming in from all over the globe, literally, which is really cool.
And I'll leave this to you just to remind people that they will see tip jar go by. Yeah. And that means if they can contribute, Duncan Showroom gets half that pot.
Yeah. I'm definitely sharing this with the Duncan Showroom. And last time people had some difficulty with the interface. So there are numerous ways that you can do this. And again, in the chat area, Jennifer will be pointing you to all the different ways to do it. And yet again, that's not the point of this. I mean, it all helps. And these are tough times, but that's for everybody. It's not like, you know, this is just something that's affecting the entertainment industry. So just enjoy the show. If you have some extra dough and you want to spread it around, please do. We could all use it. But don't feel like that's the reason that we're doing this, because it ain't.
I'm going to try not to geek out on a couple of these tracks. The title track, the title track, because you did Stay With Me.
Yeah.
And you said it was like Stand By Me, Benny King's. And I went looking, and I knew for a fact it was Benny King, Lieber Stoller written. I love those guys. So now I wrote behind the title track, The Unconquerable Past, Spanish Harlem, which is also Benny King, and Lieber and Phil Spector co-wrote it. It has a bit of that chord vibe thing to it.
Yeah.
How did this end up being the title track, and where'd the song come from?
The title was there before the track or anything. The Unconquerable Past. It comes from, oh God, I've been telling this story through Europe, and now it's clear gone out of my head. It will come back to me.
Danish, okay.
There's Patrick DeWitt, the author who wrote The Sisters Brothers, who is a favorite author of mine, a great author. He wrote another book called The French Exit, and he started each chapter in The French Exit with a quote. And there was a quote at I don't know which chapter it was, chapter 6. The quote was, the unconquerable past. And because I'm an idiot, I cannot remember, and somebody will remind me of the name of the person who came up with that quote. But it just jumped off the page because it has shades of, the usual, those who forget their history are destined to repeat it. It has elements of that. But for me, it was all the idea that, you are what you eat. You are who you've been, no matter whether it's positive or negative. We are the sum total of everything that we have ever been. And that's not a bad thing. You can look at who you are and who you've been and make changes, or you can embrace who you are and who you've been. But nonetheless, we are who we've been. And that immediately opened a door onto the whole record for me.
Well, it's a good thing that you remember that. It's very good. Jennifer has asked me, she typed on the screen, you have to speak up.
I have to speak up?
No, not you, me.
Okay.
I have to speak up. Okay. So here's the title track, The Unconquerable Past, which includes a line, the smithereen of glass. Watch this go by. There you go. Stephen Fearing.
The unconquerable past will put a hole in your future like a smithereen of glass, like a memory beneath the sutures. And the older we become, brave in all the slings and arrows, on the road to kingdom come, nobody can outrun the unconquerable past, the unimpeachable truth. Or is it just how we remember? 'Cause the plan was foolproof, how we all could have been contenders. Is this the beginning of the end, or just the end of the beginning? If there's something you regret, forgive, but don't forget the unconquerable past. The unconquerable past. Cross the valley from the future. We drove that road so fast till the wheels came off of our adventure, and we finally come to rest in some quiet part of nowhere, out of time and out of gas, like coming home at last to the unconquerable past. Present pretty tense? Is it all just too much for you? Does anything make sense? Or does everything just bore you? 'Cause it's all been done before, all the successes and the failures. So friend, take it on the chin and learn to start again with the unconquerable past. The unconquerable past. Across the valley from the future, we drove that road so fast till the wheels came off our adventure, and we finally come to rest in some quiet part of nowhere, out of time
and out of gas, like coming home at last to the unconquerable past.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. George Jones too. Gotta mention George Jones. The Good Year for the Roses. Very, very much going through my head with that tune.
All right. Actually, that's a great song. Alison Brock's watching. I'm sure she knows that one.
Isn't it the best song?
Here's the deal. Two things. You can't see my setup, but I have a box of multi-cat pea powder, whatever it's called, whatever cats go into, pebbles. Oh. It's a box that's sitting on top, and I have that. That's why I can now program with you.
This is your tech setup?
This is how desperate I am. Yes. And the other thing is, can we be, because you did the title track, can we see the album cover? Because it's really good.
I know, it is really good. I learned something really cool about this.
It's like
it's a graphic,
like a 1940 detective novel.
Well, this guy named Mark Odette made a poster for me a little over a year ago for a show that I did through the Record Center in Ottawa. Hello, folks, if you're up in Ottawa. The Record Center is just, it's one of the great old record stores, vinyl stores. And Mark created this fantastic poster for that event, and I loved it. And it made me think, what can you do with graphics that you cannot do with photography? So, for instance, if we had to set up a shoot where I'm walking around in some kind of a desert with a guitar case, it would look so pretentious and stupid, and it would cost a fortune to set it up. And instead, I just asked this great graphic artist to come up with it, and he did. And then once we did that, we started to come up with things like this, which is like something out of a graphic novel. And then inside, it was more of the same. It was just this chance to really have fun with images that I love and kind of play around with them, like this, the inside. So here's the guy from the front, but you were zeroing in on his feet now, right? You're suddenly zoomed.
Okay.
That's the idea, right? So much fun, so much fun. And Mark was game for it all. And he'd send me an idea, and I'd say, well, what about this? And he'd go back and forth. And it was between him and Jennifer, we came up with these images, and I love them so much, and I'm very excited about the poster possibilities.
By the way, I want to invite to the Stephen Fearing broadcast Carl from the New Pornographers. I think he's out there somewhere. Just
awesome.
cruising by. Yes, by the way, I love doing this. This is really cool.
Me too.
Should do this again.
Well, funnily enough. What I've been thinking is I'm digging it a lot, and whether or not I'm going to be able to keep coming up here, I don't know if I can. I know that there are other artists that are going to be using this incredible space. And by the way, since I was here last, David Gogo's done a show here, and Jack Lavin and Chris Whitley did a show here. Chris Whitley, and folks, you just go into the archives for the Duncan Showroom, and you will see an incredible lineup of players that have come through. So check them out. But whether you see whoever's here next doing a live broadcast, or maybe when this is all over and you find yourself traveling up the island, come to the Duncan Showroom. It is one of the classic Canadian venues, and seats about 65 people, and it's full of all sorts of ephemera from the wonderful Longevity John's collection. But I am going to be personally going ahead with this, but from my man cave at home. And I would like to invite you. I will shut up in a second, Terry. I would like to invite Terry David Mulligan to host the next one that I want to do, which is next Wednesday, and it's going to be me, Tom Wilson, and Colin Linden from Blackie and the Radio Kings. The three of us are going to basically beam in from our respective man caves, and we want you to host it.
Well, that's almost being like a police officer, going back to Constable Mulligan. Okay. Well, thank you. Let me think about. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I want to talk about Sonny for just a minute, because there's a lot that you want to say, I'm sure. But it's about a mother and her son. The line that really got me was, "Heaven help the desperate soul who gambles on living their whole life as someone else?
Yeah. I honestly, this song started with just the name Sonny and a guitar riff, and Sonny has showed up in song. Sonny Came Home, Sonny's Dream, Sonny One So True, I Love You. So Sean Colvin's Sonny was a woman who was coming home to clean house and basically set things to rights. Sonny's Dream is a guy, the great Ron Hines song, is a young man who's leaving home to try and get away from the clutches of. And then Sonny One So True, I Love You is kind of the 60s, kind of like Windy. Oh, Windy has, it's that kind of song. So Sonny is male, Sonny's female, Sonny is it's just an interesting mix of consonants and vowels. Sometimes songwriters end up with these names that just keep showing up. I couldn't decide if Sonny was going to be male or female, and I thought, can I write a song that is a transgender love song? That's what I'm trying to write. I was trying to, what do I know about that? So I thought, okay, I'll write that
from. You become the character.
Well, I thought I'll become the character's partner because to me, Sonny is a transgender person, and the person singing the song is a straight white guy who falls in love with Sonny. And if that's not happening, everywhere around the globe right now, you know what I mean? It's like, what am I trying to articulate? Sometimes people think about transgender and stuff like that as being something that happens in cities. It's sort of like, I imagine Sonny is coming from rural Ontario, coming down to a bigger city, could be even Sudbury, doesn't have to be Toronto, but that's where I kind of set this song. That's who Sonny is, and that's who the narrator is. That's where this song is coming from. I just want to make sure that I'm in tune. So this is Sonny.
Sonny came down to the city. Getting gone was the only way she knew. Far from the whispers and the rumors, what else was a small town kid to do? Found a place out on the east side, just a room at the Sugarland Motel. You could call it lost if you wanted. Sonny called it trying to find yourself. Sonny's dad was one hard ticket. Mother was a hard ticket's wife. Spend most of her days keeping her head down and getting on with her hard ticket life. And she said, Sonny, just as long as I can remember, you were born a mystery to me. Little boy standing on the corner, who you are and who you wanna be. Here I got some money I've been saving. Take it now before I change my mind. Take it now for every year I've been slaving. It might have helped to pay for the life you hope to find.
is a thorny ramble. You gotta walk that lonesome road all by yourself. And heaven help the desperate soul who gambles on living their whole life as someone else. Me and Sonny been together since the autumn, and we take each season one day at a time. 'Cause I believe that you're smoking if you got 'em. You live the life that makes you whole inside. You live the life that makes you whole inside.
It must be nice to be able to sing those songs again.
It is nice, and it's you know, I'll let you in a little secret. Sometimes when we play gigs in venues, there's a magic quality that happens in the sound check that is broken when the audience shows up. And it's not that, you know, you don't want to play to an audience. Of course you want to play to an audience, but it's there's a stillness in a venue when it's just you and the sound person. And that's kind of what's going on right now, because there ain't nobody here but us chickens. So it's kind of magical. It's a little bit, it's very, it suits these songs.
Okay. Well, we're live on Facebook, Stephen.
I know, but I'm just talking about the venue.
No, I understand that, but you're live now. The world is.
I know.
You know. And what this little episode needs is a flat out killer rocker. Okay.
Okay.
To bring people to the front of the stage. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And you know,
against the monitors.
You know that I really took to Christine as soon as I heard it. And I played it on Mulligan Stew as many times as I could get away with. As you know, we're not exactly a hit music station; we're a music station. And there's a little bit of there's a quarter Chuck Berry. There's maybe another quarter of Little Richard, a dash of Jerry Lee thrown in there, and about 50% of Mose Allison.
Got it right on the nose. Mose Allison's a freak. I love Mose Allison. I hope that there is going to be, if there isn't already, there will be soon a documentary on him, because I know nothing about Mose Allison, and yet he's sort of like an outlier within that whole kind of R&B blues thing. He's like this oddball, and he came up with this riff. I'm sitting out here on a parchment farm, and it's not this. It's like a variation on a riff that we all know so well, but he came up with another version of it. And it's hard to come up with a version of the classic of that riff that everybody knows. Yeah. It's really hard to come up with a different version of it, and he did. And so when I figured it out on the guitar, I thought, I'm having that. And so that was the start of Christine. But
and Christine is
my missus. Oh yes, she is. There's a line in the song which is, "She got a heart full of soul and a soul full of gasoline." And I've had people come up to me and go, "That's about your wife. Does she feel okay about that?" And I go, "Well, yeah, that's her to a T. She is a very soulful and explosive human being." And I hang on for dear life. And I meant everything. The respect and love I send the song out with is immense.
And she is no diesel. This is high. This is 91. This is a tank full of 91 right here. Okay.
This is definitely a tank full of high octane.
The trick is not to play it too fast. Christine, my rodeo queen. Christine, my rodeo queen. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. Christine, my rodeo queen. Christine, my rodeo queen. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. I couch I was eating humble pie until I learned to see the things she's saying with her eye. Christine, my rodeo queen. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. My woman's like a tea bag, you throw her in the pot, but you never know how strong she gets until the water's hot. Christine, my rodeo queen. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. Yeah. She's my coffee, and I'll tell you why. Enough caffeine to make a dead man fly. I think about the gals that I knew before she got the real fireworks start the Third World War. Christine, 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 Christine. She's got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. All right. My coffee, and I tell you why. Enough caffeine to make a dead man fly. I think about the gal that I knew before she got the real fireworks start the Third World War. Christine, 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 Christine. She got a heart full of soul, soul full of gasoline. She loved me like a river, she loved me like the rain. I was dying in the desert like a dog on a chain. Christine, Christine. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. She got a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline. Yeah, a heart full of soul, a soul full of gasoline.
Yeah, man. Yes, 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 yes. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, you know what? It's so much fun to play that live, especially when you're doing a solo gig, because it's like, what? People don't expect they don't expect it. And it's always kind of seat of the pants time, which is fun.
All right. He's Stephen Fearing. I'm Terry David Mulligan, and this is the cream of the stream coming from the Duncan Showroom, 5-camera setup. No waiting, please, and no rushing the stage. Clinton just said that all the toys on his desk are shaking off because he's got the volume cranked. Way to go, Clinton. And Anna is dancing up a storm wherever Anna happens to be.
Way to go, Anna.
Now, you have some giveaways that you want to take care of.
Yes. It occurred to me that all this inventory that I have at my house is just sitting there, and I thought it would be really fun. So people have been incredibly generous with the artists and the artist community. At least I've been the beneficiary of people's generosity, and I'm grateful. And I would like to give something back. So what I did is I put together a little care package of basically Stephen Fearing. So there's the last one, which is Every Soul's a Sailor. Then there's this one, which was Between Hurricanes. Yeah. That came out before Every Soul's a Sailor. And then I thought, what the hell? The two Fearing and Whites that Andy White and I put together.
Right.
Here as well. So what I want you to do, people who are tuned in right now, I want you to nominate somebody that you know who could use this music, who needs it, because I know for a fact that there are a lot of people going through extremely hard times. I mean, this is anybody who's ill physically, mentally. This is a tough time. It's a tough time for everybody, but if you already went into this feeling like crap, then it's a double whammy. So nominate somebody. So, just write in the side, in the chat side of this, hi, my name's Phyllis and I nominate my friend Kevin because Kevin is XYZ. Just tell us a little bit why you think that they could use a little care package of music. And then what we're going to do is, before the hour is through, Jennifer, who is looking after the chat room thing, is going to put the names in our magical selection device and basically pull one person out. And we will contact, I will say who won who won the little gift package at the end, and then you get in touch with me through my website. So I know this sounds complicated, but send us your nominations as to who needs this music, and then we'll pick a name and we'll say who it is. And then if you nominated them, you write to me privately through my website and you tell me how to send them to them, what their address is. And I'll just send it to them and say, this is from your friend Phyllis or Kevin or whoever it is that nominated. And I'll say, here you go. Here's some music. Enjoy. And, don't sweat it.
Okay. Thank you. And one of those albums is Tea and Confidences, right?
Yeah.
Fearing in White.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay. On that record, if I'm not mistaken, is Immigrant Song.
Yes, you bingo. Very good. Yeah, 10 points for you.
A different version of it as well.
Yeah, very different.
I've heard it as a like a Celtic folk tale. I've heard it in different forms and shapes. You can explain how yours works, but so it was, and I knew it was a co-write with you and Mr. White, and you're in Dublin, and it's the last day of the year. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote this with Andy and I was going to say, I think it came out in 2012. So it was probably written right before that. Andy and I put out 2 records together. Andy's a songwriter from Belfast, lives in Australia now, which made touring with him pretty impossible. Yeah. And so we kind of knocked it on the head, but we wrote this song when I was still living in Halifax, and he had literally flown in from Dublin, and it would have been, he had just come in January 3rd or 4th. So he'd spent New Year's in Dublin and flown in. And I had this melodic idea. And I said, Andy, I'd really like to write a song that starts with Fare Thee Well. And he's like, really? Like, that's sort of, it's almost like Down by the River. It's one of the great sort of folk cliches. And I said, yeah, I'd love to write a song about that. But I sort of had this idea of somebody leaving their country behind, because I grew up in Dublin. I'm not from Ireland, but I grew up there. Andy grew up in Belfast. He lives in Australia. Both of us left Ireland for different reasons, but similar reasons, because we knew that we couldn't do what we wanted to do there. And Andy, of course, growing up in Belfast, all the stuff that was going on down there up in Belfast was very, that was his childhood. So that's where the song started, and we equally wrote the melody and the lyric, and I wanted to put it on this record because I felt like, again, the Unconquerable Past. The song starts with the album starts with Break Our Mother's Heart, which is, the first line is, I left my hometown for salvation. And Immigrant Song is kind of a continuation of that character's story, where they went, and it's Immigrant Song. It's not Immigrant Song because that's already been used by Led Zeppelin. But Immigrant Song was the idea that here I am in my new country. Now, how am I making out? What's it like? How do I feel about where I left? How am I making do with this new reality that I'm in? And so that's why I put on this record.
Fare thee well, my one and only. I am traveling overseas for my country. It doesn't want me, and my faith is on its knees. I will follow every highway, through the street lights and the chrome, and find a city where someone needs me, and a place to call my own. On Sunday night, I was in Dublin. It was the last day of the year, walking through a concrete wasteland, all that ancient hope and fear, and there was nothing left to reach for, to pull myself out of the fray. I got my ticket now, and I am leaving, So don't watch me walk away. Fare thee well, my fickle homeland. I always loved you from the first. Fare thee well, beautiful country, even when you're at your worst. And when the rain falls in Vancouver, something makes me look away. Like every immigrant, I still love you, and that is why I cannot stay. When the rain falls in Vancouver, something makes me look away. Like every immigrant, I still love you, and that is why I cannot stay. Like every immigrant, I still love you, and that is why I cannot stay.
There's a book there, or at least a movie.
I think it's a story a lot of people. I was really happy when Andy and I were writing that, and I got to put Vancouver in it because it brought it right home to me. Because that's where I ended up. I mean, that was where I was from, but it's certainly where I came back to. So.
I'm a huge Andy White fan. Huge.
Yeah.
What's that song of his, Solitary Street or something like that? It reminds me of Van Morrison. Anyway.
Yeah, he's pretty deep. I do love him. I miss him. I wish we could do more together. It just wasn't on the cards,
He's going to have to move. Stephen Fearing is streaming live. We have folks from all over Canada.
Excellent.
Down in Seattle and LA, and as far away as Norway.
Amazing. Hello.
Do you have any Nord in you?
I don't have any of that language. Honestly, the Danish language just completely befuddles me. But I wonder if it's my friend Arnie who's tuning in from Norway, because I have a friend over there who I've never met in person, but we have become swift pals through Instagram and the like.
I'm going to ask anyone who's watching this streaming to send us questions. What do you want to know from Stephen? We're rapidly running out of time, but what would you like to know? Is there anything you've always wanted to ask him over the floodlights? And we have one more song to finish off side 2 of the Unconquerable Past, and then we're gonna go into we're gonna go into no man's land. The tip jar information is down below, so we can raise some funds for Stephen and for Duncan Showroom, where he is broadcasting. This is very cool. I love this. Now, if we're going to talk about No Country, we've got to talk about Scott Nolan.
Yeah.
And his effect on your music. And he wrote the song. So
yeah, Scott wrote the song. Scott is a musician, a poet. He's just a creative being. He's a bit of a magical, mystical guy. I keep describing him that way, and he doesn't seem to mind. So I will continue to use that term. It's kind of hard to pin him down in many ways. I first saw him when he was out performing with Joanne, a drummer, which just the two of them. So he's playing a little tiny Martin acoustic guitar with a pickup in it through an amp, and Joanne was playing drums, no bass, and it was kind of like a very rootsy, not to comparison, but the only other thing I could think of was the White Stripes, and yet it was Americana. It was very on the down low and very cool. Anyway, I thought, who is that guy? And I wrote to him eventually and said, I'd love to connect, write songs. That's sort of the opening gambit. And we never did write together, but a couple of years went by, and I went to visit him in Winnipeg, and he welcomed me into his little garage studio setup, which is very cool and full of really great keyboards, like really interesting Wurlitzers and Fender Rhodes and all sorts of cool stuff, and amps galore and all the fun stuff. And he gave me a copy of William Prince's album, Earthly Days, and said, I just produced this with William. Have a listen.
He did Breathless.
Yeah, I know. And I went and drove away and I listened to it. And honestly, I get a lot of music, you know. It's not like, you know, my friend called. I don't want to be a snob, but you know, it's not often that something kind of knocks you out.
Yeah.
And
it took William Prince 5 years to get someone to pay attention to that one song, and then once it was gone, it was gone.
Oh yeah, Breathless. It's the combination of the song, which is a really great song, but the voice. Yeah. So I phoned Scott from the road. I was driving to Boissevain to play a house concert in Boissevain for my pals out there. And anyway, I phoned him from the road and I said, Scott, what an unbelievably beautiful album. I was actually pretty close to tears because I just was so moved by it. And what I loved was that Scott didn't do what even I've been guilty of, which is you produce an album and you're all over the damn thing. You're playing the little guitar part and the little this and the, you know, you can't not fiddle with it. And Scott, he stayed out of the way. I mean, there's like little lo-fi sort of piano thing in the background, and everything is back with this huge, beautiful voice right up front. And he just let William shine and created a space for him. And I thought, I want to work with that guy because he knows something that I really would like a piece of. And that's how it started. I basically was writing songs for the record, and I said, you know what? I'm going to leave one slot, 10 songs. That's all I want to do. I'm going to leave one slot, and you and I will write that song when I get there.
And did it simply become, oh, wait a minute, that's how we end the album?
Well, what happened was he said, well, he's very low key. He's very low key. He goes, I can't do a Scott. You know who does the best Scott Nolan impression is Jeremy Russo, who played all the keyboard parts on this record. And Jeremy is, hello, Jeremy. If you're for some reason listening to this, I love your playing. But Jeremy does a great Scott impersonation. But Scott said, well, I've got this song, that idea. And so he plays me this song. And I'm like, that's not an idea, man. That's a finished song. In fact, the only thing I would do is edit out the stream of consciousness Scott Nolan poem in the middle, and there's the song. So I'd like to record that song because it's a perfect bookend, and especially coming out of Immigrant Song into this song, it's I couldn't have thought of a better coda. So that's honestly, he gave me the lyrics. I went home I went to my friend Candace's house where I was staying. I know Candace is watching. Love you, Candace. She let me stay at her house for the whole week that we made this album. And I played it once in her front room, and then I went to the studio and we threw the mics up and I recorded it. So what you're hearing is pretty much the second or maybe the third time I played it through, but it was just so there. The song is completely there. I didn't have to do nothing to it.
Okay, we're going to also do it for Linda Manzer, who's watching.
Oh, Linda. Oh,
come on. I
love Linda Manzer. Oh, don't even start talking about Linda Manzer.
No, it's not in tune. And you know what? Linda Manzer is watching this show, and Linda Manzer built these guitars, so the least thing I can do is make sure I'm in tune for her. Good Lord. So yeah, I am playing this song, No Country, on my 30-year-old Manzer Cowpoke, which Linda Manzer made, not for me, but I ended up getting it. So really, in the great big scheme of things, she did make this guitar for me 30 years ago.
There's a piece of my heart no country can claim. All I have in this world is my word and my name. And if I am so lucky to see you again, well, I'll be a fortunate one. There's a place in my mind, and it never forgets, that forgiveness, it might just be all that we get. If there's peace in this world, I ain't found it yet. Ah, but still, I'm a fortunate one. Oh, bring us your tired, you're hungry, and you're poor. 'Cause if this isn't privilege, then what's it all for? When I stumble, heaven forbid, I forget that I am a fortunate one. There's a piece of my heart no country can claim. All I have in this world is my word and my name.
Done like dinner, boy. That's it. That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
10 songs. You know, when the CD format came out, I think like everybody else, I felt like you had to fill it up. And it's like, no, 10 songs. That's enough. That's enough.
No, 12 at least. All right, here's a question from Clinton. Lots of road musicians write books about their tales from gig to gig. Any consideration of ever setting pen to paper and writing an autobiography?
Who's been on my case about this is our good friend, Tom Lee Harvey Osmond Wilson, who just wrote probably the most perfect corker of a book ever.
He's working on a follow-up.
He is working on a follow-up. So Beautiful Scars. When he wrote that book, I read it and I just thought, wow, what an amazing story. And Tom keeps saying to me, Stephen, you've got a story to tell. I just don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I do have a story like that. I mean, Tom's story is remarkable. And if you haven't read his book, Beautiful Scars, I really do recommend. This is the time. Just go get that book and read it, because it's not tales of rock and roll debauchery, which we all thought, it's going to be so great because nobody tells them better than Tom. It's his story, but I'm sure that Tom will write tales of rock and roll debauchery before it's all over. But I don't know. I'm a bit mystified right now, and this is a much bigger topic, but I am the quintessential middle-aged white guy, and I'm not sure if anybody's that interested in middle-aged white guy stories right now, and understandably so. So
you won't know until you start to write it, and if you're interested in it, then it becomes interesting. I've done the same exercise. Lori asks if Stephen will ever do a book of lyrics.
Yes. That's something I'm really seriously thinking of, because one of my other passions, which has sadly fallen by the wayside for quite a while, is photography. I wouldn't call myself a photographer, but I am a lover of good images, and I have a good eye. And thankfully, with this and modern cameras, like a lot of the skill is sort of taken out of it. So if you can see it, you can get it, and I do see a lot. It's one of the perks of my job. So I'm thinking of a combination of the two. I just have to find a way to do it such that it won't break the bank. I'll have to print like 500 books and then have those sitting in the basement alongside all the albums that are difficult to sell, because the CD, as we know, is it's becoming a niche thing. And so I don't want to create another niche thing that I have to stockpile under my desk. But yes, I am thinking of it.
Okay. But it's good for, keeps your desk handy. All right, before we announce
propping up your laptop when you're doing live streams.
That's right. Before we announce our contest winners, a couple of things. Requests for Dublin Bay, Long Walk to Freedom, No Man's Land. Let me see, hold on a second. Also, this just in, this is a headline that just came in. I actually had to look at it. It's from CTV, so I think it's absolutely a fact. Labatt is going to switch production from beer to hand sanitizer.
Wow. Wow.
Come
Well,
on.
that will be. I've already heard about somebody who's quit making vodka and is making alcohol.
No, that's. I'm sorry. Anyway, I understand why they're doing it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So now comes the time. We have time for one more tune, maybe a riff out. I have 3 songs in front of me: Dublin Bay, Long Walk to Freedom, No Man's Land, and I suggested.
I don't know what No Man's Land
Blowhard.
is. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. To me, it's Long Walk to Freedom or Blowhard Nation, and I don't know. How do we do it?
And you couldn't do them as a medley?
No, that would. I think I would break something internally trying to switch from one to the other. You know what? We got 451. We can make up the rules. I'll play them both. What the hell? So I'll play them both. But before I go, I'll play them both, and then I think we're getting close to the end of this. This live streaming thing is really cool, and I'm digging it. And obviously, none of us is going anywhere for at least a month, 2 months, 2 months. Let's be real. So I'm going to keep this going. As I said, it's going to be every Wednesday and every Sunday. I may try and do one that is specifically aimed at my friends over in Europe because we're in different time zones.
Sure.
But of course, you can watch any of these if you want.
And then Blackie the Rodeo King, or the Blackie Trio?
Blackie and the Rodeo Kings is next Wednesday, and that's going to be the 3 of us with Terry David Mulligan professionally wrangling the 3 of us and down one by one. But after that,
4 o'clock?
Yeah, that one's going to be at 4 o'clock Pacific time. After that, I've got a number of different ideas. I've got ideas for bringing another songwriter to like Erin Costello. I haven't asked Erin yet, but I want to ask her, hey, do you want to do this? Like just you and me throwing songs back and forth? There's a whole bunch of people I'd love to do that with. I'd love to see if Amy Helm, I've never sat down and talked with Amy Helm, but I'm fascinated by her music. So there's lots of room. And the other thing I thought of is people ask me, especially now, I'm seeing lots of people dragging the old guitar from under the bed and going, I think I'm going to learn how to play guitar because I meant to, and now I'm going to do it. And it's like, how do you play fill in the blank? So I think I'm going to do an hour sometime in the next 2 months where I'll just start putting it in tunings like drop D tuning, double drop D tuning, dadgad, and
wait, hold on a second. Are you talking about a hoot nanny?
I'm talking more like a guitar lesson with songs.
Okay, fine.
We could get really formal and call it a master class.
So here's the deal. You have time for 1 song now.
Really?
Yeah.
Who says?
Because well, look at the clock. Unless we have to.
No, I'm gonna play 2. I already said I would, and otherwise I'll get flogged. So I'll play 2, but I better. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Shut up and play. I wrote this in 2016 when you know what happened. I don't want to live in a blowhard nation with a king in a tinselly crown. When the whole thing wobbles and the wheels come off, you know what's gonna go down. It's the same sad story about the power and the glory and the big shots living uptown. It's the old rat race, so get ready for the chase. The fat cats are gaining ground. I got up this morning and I grabbed me a paper to read up on the low down. The front page feature was a weird-looking creature with a rug and a jowly frown. Some of my sinister neighbors are rattling the sabers and the circus is a-coming to town. It's like a bad tattoo, there's nothing you can do. I could sure use a stiff drink now. They all
Christ Almighty, but there ain't no spine in the words. And when they talk of resurrection, they're thinking about elections. It's the saddest thing I ever heard. And the whole debate has a sickening weight, like a steer when the hammer comes down. When you see the cross, you better get lost. They're gonna burn something down. I don't want to live in a blowhard nation with the king in a tinselly crown. When the whole thing wobbles and the wheels come off, you know what's gonna go down. It's the same sad story about the power and the glory and the big shot living uptown. It's the old rat race. Get ready for the chase. The fat cats are gaining ground. The bread line's growing and the headlines crowing. It's as bad as it's ever been. They're all talking while the whole town's walking down the boulevard of broken dreams. And easy money is as sweet as honey to a hick hanging off of a plow. But make no mistake, when they're showing you the cake, they never let you eat it now. I don't want to live in a blowhard nation with a king in a tinselly crown. When the whole thing wobbles and the wheels come off, you know what's gonna go down. It's the same sad story about the power and the glory, the big shot living uptown. It's the old rat race. Get ready for the chase. The fat cats are gaining ground. Mistaken when they're showing you the cake, they never let you eat it now. Eat your heart out, Marie Antoinette. And one more song. This is a good call. It's a nice way to end after that one. I have walked a long way to freedom, tried not to stumble and fall down in the road. I discovered that the secret of climbing these great hills is there's always one more hill to go. I have taken the time to stop and rest a while, looking back on the valley below. But I dare not linger, for my long walk isn't over. So many miles still to go. And a saint is just a sinner who keeps on trying. So I kept my spirit pointed toward the sun. Freedom isn't freedom if it's only for yourself. The chains on me are the chains on everyone. So I let my light shine through the shadows of the night, from a tiny room behind a prison wall. The greatest glory in living doesn't lie in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. I had a dream, and I kept my spirit pointed toward the sun. I have walked a long way to freedom, and it seemed impossible till it was done. It seemed impossible, 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 till it was done.
Thanks so much,
Thanks.
Terry. Thanks for doing this with me. I really, really appreciate it.
You know, we should get a barn and have a musical. Yeah.
We got the lights. We got the stage. Let's put on the show.
Let's go. Okay, the winner of the draw, Stephen.
Yes.
Mary Irvine nominated a friend who's currently in Royal Columbian Hospital in Westminster by himself, and he's battling the virus.
Okay.
COVID-19. Okay.
Done deal. Mary Irvin, write to me at #2, so #2, Stephen at StephenFearing.com. #2, Stephen, to Stephen at StephenFearing.com. Send me your friend's coordinates, and I will send them this little gift package from you. So please include your name and all the information I need, and I will definitely send this with great speed. And next time we do this, I'll see if I can dig up something else that would make a fun giveaway, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just keep doing this.
So it's a technical challenge you're going to be jumping through, because you've got Tom Wilson in Hamilton,
Yeah.
where they still celebrate fax machines, and then you have in Nashville, you've got Colin Linden, who's a Luddite.
Who's a Luddite surrounded by heavy duty equipment.
Exactly.
I know, it's because something else.
We'll meet here Wednesday, 4:00.
Yeah, and before I go, Ted Cadillac, you're a king. Longevity John, wherever you are, lurking about with your half a beard. The Duncan Showroom, it's where cool musicians come to hang out. So if you're in the neighborhood, when this is all over, come and visit. But in the meantime, tune into the Duncan Showroom's YouTube channel and watch some cool stuff. Thank you so much for coming and listening to me and Terry. And Terry, you're a champ. I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And take advantage of the tip jar for everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. We're gone.
Are we off?